21 is Tadeo Sims. Number 24 is Maria Vericalis. And number 32 is Aaliyah Booker. And now the starters for tonight's game. For the Lady Crusaders, starting at guard, 5'8" junior number 1, Rose Dolovich. For the Lady Patriots, starting at center, 16 sophomores, 00, Talia Weish. For the Lady Crusaders, starting at guard, 5'9" junior number 5, Rachel Dolovich. For the Lady Patriots, starting at guard, 5'8" sophomore number 3, Daniela Malonsky. The Lady Crusaders, starting at guard, 5'9" freshman number 10, Maddie Millar. The Lady Patriots, starting at guard, 5'9" senior number 5, Jenna Lau. The Lady Crusaders, starting at forward, 5'10" sophomore number 24, Jasmine Roberts. The Lady Patriots, starting at point guard, 5'6" junior number 15, December Stubbs. For the Lady Crusaders, starting at point guard, 5'8" junior number 32, Kara McCarthy. And for the Lady Patriots, starting at forward, 6' senior number 23, Paris Sharp. The head coach for the Lady Crusaders in her 4th year is Chauncey Clark. And the head coach for the Lady Patriots in his 4th year is Greg Farias. The officials for tonight's game are from the Central Florida Basketball Officials Association, headquartered in Orlando, Florida. They are referee Mark Rossi with umpires Mario Dixon and Kira Negron.
Spectrum Sports coverage of the 2019 FHSAA Girls Basketball Finals rolls on with the 6A State Championship game. It is defending champion American Heritage taking on Bishop Kenny out of Jacksonville. Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the RP Funding Center. Austin Lyon with Andrick Frazier. Thank you so much for joining us for what we anticipate is going to be a fantastic 6A championship game. Bishop Kenny trying to return to the top for the first time since 1992, and they got here in dramatic fashion. A 1-point win over Bradenton Southeast yesterday. Jasmine Roberts hitting 2 free throws with 13.7 seconds left to go. American Heritage has had an easy time the last couple of games. They beat Wekiwachi 56-26 in yesterday's semifinal. Jasmine Roberts was the star yesterday for Bishop Kenny, averaging almost a double-double.
Austin, we've seen some outstanding performances by some young talent this far in Lakeland. Jasmine Roberts does not disappoint. Played all 32 minutes yesterday, making those big free throws to win the game, but was perfect from the foul line. Has to do more of that tonight.
Just a sophomore, she's already surpassed 1,000 points in her career, a transfer from Yulee. For American Heritage, not many seniors on the floor tonight, but Paris Sharp had an outstanding game in the semifinals, nearly a triple-double for the Rollins signee.
Absolutely amazing. The 6-foot senior had 11 steals last night in that contest against Wekiwachi. This is a team that likes to force turnovers to get up and down the floor.
Sharp, a transfer from Cardinal Gibbons. Let's show you the starting lineups for each of these teams. You'll notice no seniors among the first 5 for Bishop Kenny. Maddie Millar, an outstanding freshman. She has 115 made three-pointers this year. That is number 3 among girls players in the state. Kara McCarthy, solid performer at the point, 5'8" junior. Bishop Kenny coach Charles C. Clark, now in her 4th year. Three-sport athlete at Menendez High School in St. Augustine, played close to home at Flagler College, and now has an opportunity to get Bishop Kenny back to the top. American Heritage starting lineup, a couple of seniors in Sharp and Jenna Lau, who's a transfer from St. Thomas Aquinas. They'll be here in the 8A semifinals tomorrow. Aronsky and Talia Weish one of two sophomore forwards that are 6'2", identical twins on this American Heritage roster. Greg Farias led the program to their first ever state championship a year ago. He's won at least 21 games in all 4 of his seasons as the American Heritage head coach. A couple of coaches in their 4th year in this 6A championship game. Mark Rossi, Kiera Negron, and Mark Olson are the officials from Orlando, and we are underway here in the 6A title game.
American Heritage picking up man-to-man.
Both of these teams stake their claim on the defensive end of the floor, each average giving up less than 40 points per game. First touch for Roberts, who's defended by Daniela Aransky.
These teams here are just up in passing lanes.
Jenna Lau draws the assignment of face guarding Maddie Millar, the terrific shooter. McCarthy to Rachel Dolmovich, got hit on that shot, so the first possession lasts 49 seconds for Bishop Kenny, and Rachel Dolmovich will have a couple of free throws.
If this first possession is going to set the tone, Bishop Kenny is going to have to do a lot of attacking at the rim, not allowing a lot of clean passes from side to side, allow the ball to rotate. They're going to force Bishop Kenny guards to beat them off the dribble.
Dolmovich, 3 points in the semifinal. Hit her only shot, it was a three-pointer. Saddled with a little bit of foul trouble. And there's not much depth for Charlie Clark's team. Major priority to keep this first 5 out there as much as possible. Dolmovich misses on both. Roberts tips it into the waiting arms of Paris Sharp.
First offensive possession here for American Heritage.
There is a distinct size advantage for the Patriots with Sharp and the 2 Weiss sisters on the interior. Sharp working in the middle of the lane, powers it up with a left hand.
Great job of establishing position on the right block, utilizing the left hand for the easy 2.
Well, Roberts navigating her way against some full court pressure.
Look at the spacing here, and again, a nice strong post possession, turning over the right shoulder. Going right through contact for the easy 2.
Roberts curling off a screen. Nice set for Bishop Kenny, but Roberts unable to finish.
Good job by Bishop Kenny getting back in transition.
Aransky left open. That pops in and out. Offensive rebound for Sharp. She's got the first 4.
Bishop Kenny's gonna have to do a better job of locating bodies when the shot goes up. Have to hold your seal for box outs.
Gave up 18 offensive rebounds to Bradenton Southeast in that semifinal yesterday.
Also, just look at the communication here defensively for American Heritage.
Roberts forcing the issue up and over the outstretched hand of Weiss.
Tough shot, such a strong move for the sophomore.
Roberts said her game-winning free throws in yesterday's semifinal were routine. Done it 1,000 times in practice. But the first of those 2 free throws hit off the right side of the rim, then the left side before finally bouncing in. And she did say she was nervous as those ball was rattling around. There's a 3 from Aransky from the right corner.
Unbelievable set there against the 1-2-2. Getting the ball to the high post, and the unselfish play by Sharp. Finding the wide open player for the 3.
And the pressure from American Heritage forces a 10-second backcourt violation. Greg Farias is all about defense. Said it was a challenge early on for the new players, Lau and Sharp, to get acclimated to the way he wanted them to play and compete on every single possession. Team didn't really start to hit their stride until mid-January.
Much too easy of a catch, Austin, especially on initial pass at the high post. You have to keep the ball off the elbow in a 1-2-2 zone.
Foul on Domovich. We'll give Sharp a couple of free throws. Doesn't waste any time and splits the pair out of bounds to Bishop Kenny. Early 6-point lead for the Patriots, trying to win back-to-back state championships. Greg Farias told us yesterday when he was hired, a state championship was the goal. Girls basketball was the only program at the school that had not won a state championship, and they accomplished that feat a year ago. Teams exchange turnovers.
Bishop Kenny getting back in defense, causing the turnover, having a lot of problems, Austin, against this 1-2-2 trap.
Maddie Millar with her first touch on the offensive end.
Look at the hard hedge.
Millar steps through the trap. Oronsky has it for American Heritage. Good defense by Millar. Got back and knocked it out of bounds.
So far, we've seen American Heritage hard hedge screens. We've seen them switch, and here just, once you pick up your dribble, utilizing their length to cause the turnover.
Sharp once again forcing the issue. Strength and size over Kara McCarthy.
Really utilizing it to their advantage as American Heritage in the first 4 minutes of this contest.
Another errant pass. Sharp and backs it out. You can tell Oronsky wanted to let that one go. December Stubbs wheeling inside. Sharp stepping through the double team. Weiss the backside rebound, and Roberts was the last to touch it.
It's like the game plan for American Heritage to pound the ball inside early and often.
The defensive rebounding was the biggest concern for Charlie Clark. That along with foul trouble, but so far it's been the position that American Heritage has been able to get the ball in offensively.
No matter what defensive set Bishop Kenny's been in, American Heritage has been able to answer.
Nice find off the screen. Oronsky setting up Sharp. She's got 9 of the 12 for American Heritage.
Great spacing, setting the ball screen at the elbow and rotating directly to the block.
Now Sharp got to be careful. Nearly picked up her second foul, but forces the turnover. Lindsey Miller in off the bench, travels for Bishop Kenny.
Sharp here just setting the ball screen and then rolling directly to the rim. Textbook, Austin.
Sharp gets a huge ovation as she heads to the American Heritage bench. 9 points in the first 5 minutes for the Patriots. And they have stormed out of the gate here. A 10-point lead in the first quarter. Lau, high arcing three, around and out. Roberts challenging that rebound. And she'll pick up the foul as Tatiana Weiss will head to the line.
Weiss doing a good job of getting to the weak side glass. No one in a black jersey there to establish inside blockout position.
Tatiana Weiss, the younger of the twins, both of them 6'2". Greg Farias told us yesterday that Tatiana would prefer to play on the wing. He is constantly trying to get her to be more inside. Wants to step out and shoot the three, and he has not allowed her to do that.
Hey, after watching that touch, she should get 1 or 2 a game.
Couple of good-looking free throws from Tatiana Weiss. So both of the bigs out there right now for American Heritage. And Bishop Kenny without their sharpshooter, Maddie Millar. Roberts unable to handle the pressure from Oronsky.
5'8" sophomore just getting completely under. Roberts couldn't handle the dribble heading to the baseline.
American Heritage has delivered the early blow in this 6A championship game. Oronsky unable to hit. Another offensive rebound. Stubbs had it pop out.
I can understand Roberts being at the top of the 1-2-2 zone. They need her to get inside. I mean, they need her size and her athleticism to help them rebound on the defensive end.
Well, Greg Farias couldn't have scripted it any better here in the first 6 minutes. And a nightmare start for Bishop Kenny. 2 free throws for December Stubbs, the 5'6" junior guard, and it is 16-2.
Tatiana Weiss was not late on the rotation, but you have to get your right foot on the sideline to prevent getting the blocking call.
Aaron inbound pass, Stubbs with the steal, takes it all the way in. She scored 4 in a row. Timeout for Bishop Kenny. Suffocating pressure from American Heritage, and so far the Crusaders have had no answer.
Austin, some of these turnovers really have been unforced, and last turnover, you have the entire backcourt to utilize. Maybe set a screen to make it easy, but not even a seal by McCarthy. Easy run out for 2 for Stubbs.
American Heritage seeking back-to-back state championships. A record 20-9. They played a challenging schedule and trying to add to the list of repeat champions we've had here in Lakeland so far this week. While Somerset Prep go back-to-back in Class 3A. Earlier today, Miami Country Day with their 6th consecutive state championship. Unbelievable what that program has been able to accomplish. And American Heritage looking for its 2nd consecutive title.
Beginning to become a repeated theme here in Lakeland. Some programs getting some young talent. We're seeing 7th and 8th graders that are starting on these varsity teams and really being able to carry them their entire careers here to finals.
One of the players for Country Day, Maria Alvarez, right? All part of all 6 championship teams.
I think she could have that conversation now with Michael Jordan.
Roberts lost her footing on the way in, but able to gather herself and get the 2nd bucket for Bishop Kenny.
Great sign, Bishop Kenny scoring in transition.
Roberts with the deflection and the steal. Miller picks up the dribble. Dolmovich along the baseline, gets it out high to McCarthy. A couple of buckets here would go a long way towards settling the nerves and giving Bishop Kenny some belief that they can stay in it.
Building confidence is important this last minute and 15 seconds.
Roberts, tough shot off the window.
It's a patient move by the sophomore.
Jasmine Roberts has all 6 for Bishop Kenny, coming off 20 points and 12 rebounds in the semifinals. Oronsky just inside the NBA 3-point line. Offensive rebound, Weish, and a foul.
It's too much length for American Heritage for Bishop Kenny to deal with.
Talia Weish, the older of the twins. She is embracing her role as a rim protector, wants to be a defensive force.
I always wonder this with twins. I mean, you notice one's a lefty and one's a righty. I mean, does that have to do with maybe the position, you know, that they sit mostly, you know, before they're born, or, you know, kind of, you know, who gets fed from what side? I mean,
there's got to be some rational explanation.
I mean, that's not uncommon, by the way, with identical twins.
We've got identical twins for Bishop Kenny as well, the Dolmoviches. Both of them right-handed, shoot the ball well from the perimeter. The same doesn't apply. How about the defensive pressure applied by Edwards on McCarthy?
There's a hand up on every pass.
Lindsey Miller's three off the left side of the rim. Chance for Heritage to have the final shot. Miller takes it away from Edwards. Takes her time, misses the left-handed layup, stays with it. Roberts will not get a chance to get a shot off at the buzzer. A disastrous end of the quarter for Bishop Kenny.
Miller to grab a takeaway and get a wide open layup, and unable to convert is Miller.
Those are the types of nerves we saw in that first quarter. Bishop Kenny finds themselves in a 14-point hole, defending champion American Heritage in control after one.
At this time, the FHSA asks that all educators in attendance stand up so today's crowd can publicly recognize and thank you for your dedication, commitment, and passion. The valuable lessons that our educators instill in our student athletes help them to succeed not only athletically but academically. Thank you, teachers, for everything that you do.
A championship game from the RP Funding Center in Lakeland. Each of these teams got a lot better in the offseason with a couple of major additions. For Bishop Kenny, Jasmine Roberts transferred in from Yulee. You see her numbers averaging more than 18 points per game. Maddie Millar arrives on campus as a freshman. She's the second leading scorer, so the top two scorers for Bishop Kenny, both new to their program. And for American Heritage, Jenna Lau and Paris Sharp, two seniors who are making a big impact on this team's success this year.
Another common theme that we notice here in Lakeland. Unlike entering into the transfer portal of NCAA, impact players trying to find situations where, makes their path more likely to a state championship.
And a positive outcome for all four of those players. Great pass from Aronski. Sharp a little bit out of control going up. Scrum inside will result in a hell ball.
It's kind of one of those things where, the quarterback throws the pass before the receiver comes out of his break. I mean, that's trusting the play, having great instincts.
The speed and the strength of American Heritage has been on display so far here through the first quarter plus. Roberts once again curling. Couldn't get any angle to get that shot up against Edwards. Aronski off the window. That'll count and a chance for three.
Aronski's had several looks from the outside, and here you can see her just penetrating left, slicing through the gap.
Aronski's third year playing at the state tournament. She was an 8th grader when American Heritage made it here against Jacksonville Ribault. How about that introduction to the state tournament against a pretty good Ribault team?
Yeah, that'll make your eyes open up a little bit.
Greg Farias told us that created the hunger, the desire. Getting here, getting beat the way they did, showed everyone on the roster and everyone in the program what it would take to be successful. They were able to make it back last year, won their first title, and now in position for a second in a row.
One of those things where, again, you're going up against the best, and just, that was, Ribault's had a dynasty, for so long. It's one of those losses, I think, that makes you even more hungry.
A poor entry pass there from Edwards. And a loose ball foul against American Heritage.
One of the rare miscues offensively.
Second foul on Tatiana Weish. So difficult for Bishop Kenny to try and generate just shot attempts, much less good shot attempts on the offensive end. And there's another example. Millar being face guarded, had it go off her hands and out of bounds.
Lau just not even concerned about anyone else driving through gaps.
That is 10 turnovers for Bishop Kenny. Nice drop off there. Sharp underneath off the feed from Stubbs.
Bishop Kenny is having problems keeping the guards from American Heritage in front.
Well, as is the case with seemingly all of these South Florida powerhouses, American Heritage really tested itself throughout the regular season. Millar has that shot attempt deflected. Miller came away with a rebound and a foul against American Heritage.
It's the 16th foul for American Heritage. Excuse me, 5th.
Kenny would love to get to the line. They were 11 of 12 at the free throw line yesterday. McCarthy does well to keep it alive. Dolmovich open at the top of the key. Millar will have a chance. 116 made threes this year for Matty Millar.
Freshman did not hesitate. As the ball was in her hands, laced it up and knocked it down.
Already offers from North Florida and Virginia Tech for Millar. Roberts does a good job on Sharp, but Bishop Kenny can't get the defensive rebound. Sharp again keeping it alive. Weish underneath, shuffled her feet, 3 seconds.
Checking in again, the Lady Patriots, number 3, Daniela Oronsky.
Bishop Kenny trying to find a way to get a bucket, and here Millar, one step inside NBA range, made it look easy.
2 of 10 from 3 in the semifinals for Millar. Figured she'd be a lot more comfortable shooting today, but there just haven't been any opportunities. Roberts able to get past her man, high off the window. Dolmovich will give Bishop Kenny another opportunity.
Roberts is going to have to look for more opportunities to dribble drive. Look at the ball pressure.
Oronsky can really defend. She switches on to Roberts. Miller to a cutting Roberts. And a couple of free throws.
Solid basketball play here. Oronsky forgets to jump towards the basketball on the pass and allows herself to get face cut.
Charlie Clark was very familiar with Roberts when she got the call 6 days before school that Jasmine was coming to Bishop Kenny. Yulee in the same district as Bishop Kenny, so they scouted her, played against her a lot last year. And when Coach Clark got that call, it was an immediate reaction that they were going to be a team that people were going to have to contend with in Northeast Florida. Roberts defending Sharp. Oronsky with a bounce pass inside and another 3-second violation.
And I'm not sure if that's 3 seconds. They're having issues identifying where the paint is playing with this NBA court, because that definitely was not 3 seconds.
This is the home of the G League Lakeland Magic. So you've got different lines out there from what would normally be on just a high school court. A hold on December Stubbs. That is the 7th team foul on American Heritage, so Bishop Kenny will have a chance to get to the line.
Foul call is number 15, December Stubbs.
Still a ton of time left in this first half. On Bishop Kenny, you want to continue to be aggressive. As you mentioned, also the team that shot the ball extremely well from the free throw line yesterday, although they missed, I believe, 3 free throws so far tonight.
11 of 12 yesterday, 1 of 4 today. And Miller misses the front end of the 1-and-1, but Roberts comes away with it for Bishop Kenny. Miller guarded by Sharp. Traveling.
That was a textbook defensive possession on how you guard a weak side screen and roll. Everything from the hard hedge to the picking up the roller above the block forces the turnover.
McCarthy with some back short pressure on Stubbs. A little out of control once she got into the front court. Millar had a foot on the baseline.
Stubbs a tad bit out of control.
Bishop Kenny right now with 12 field goal attempts and 11 turnovers. Lau gets open off the inbounds. Roberts comes away with it. Bishop Kenny starting to string together some stops. Can they get some scores on the offensive end? Sharp has been aggressively defending Roberts the last couple of possessions. That's going to be the second foul on Paris Sharp, and a 1-and-1 upcoming for Roberts.
Any cuts coming away from the basketball because American Heritage is not playing a ton of help side defense. Will be able to create advantages for Bishop Kenny.
Sharp very upset as she sits with the 2 fouls. Roberts has 8 of the 11 for Bishop Kenny. The only other player to score is Maddie Millar. She hit a 3-pointer. Lead has been as large as 16. Right now it is 12. Aronski wide open, deep 3. Another offensive rebound. Lau quick release. Rebound to Aronski.
Smart decision.
A third chance on this possession for American Heritage as we come up on 2 minutes to go. Farias frantically trying to get a timeout. That's going to be an offensive foul.
Great job of sacrificing the body to create the turnover. Not sure where they're going, but you don't shoot free throws on player control fouls.
There's Dolmovich who stepped up to try and absorb the charge. Millar and McCarthy had to hustle back there just to get the ball in bounds. Important final 1:40 here in the second quarter. McCarthy, nice cut. Waited there as Weish came over defensively. Weish was still able to block the shot.
Weish surely missed her defensive assignment, but her length allowed her to make up for the miscue.
And a foul off the ball is going to go against American Heritage. I think that's Stubbs trying to set a screen.
Coach Clark is intense.
It was a lot of fun watching her coach in that semifinal yesterday. I asked the players in the press conference, Maddie Millar and Jasmine Roberts, to evaluate the intensity of their head coach. And they had an interesting response as Roberts sticks back her own miss. They said, we always listen to what she's trying to say and try not to pay attention to the volume at which she's saying it.
Listen to what I say and not how I say it, huh? Is that how that works?
A timeout for Greg Farias as you get another look at the Roberts putback.
Watch how Roberts gets low as she turns the corner. Her shoulders gets lower than the defenders, which allows her to get around and get to the rim.
Obviously, with the impact arrivals of Millar and Roberts, Bishop Kenny took a huge step forward. But the program has steadily gotten better under Charlie Clark. 18-10 a year ago. Lost in the region finals to Mosley. But they beat Ribault for the district title and in the region semi last year. That was a big step forward after finishing below 500 in 2017. Before Clark arrived, 4 coaches in 4 years. So the senior class that was with her had 4 different coaches that first season. That's not a recipe for a successful program.
Not at all. You need stability. You have to have stability. And we talked a little bit on Tuesday in our broadcast about the importance of creating a solid foundation. I think you have that here now at Bishop Kenny with Coach Clark.
Program won 3 consecutive titles from 1990 to 1992. This is the first time they have been back since that championship. Stubbs driving, and another offensive foul. That'll go on to Leah Weish.
Back-to-back turnovers by American Heritage.
And a chance to cut it to single digits. A foul committed by Edwards. Say she pushed into Roberts. So it'll be 2 free throws for Jasmine Roberts.
It's an easy call for the official. You can't reach over the back of the offensive player.
Edwards becomes the 4th American Heritage player with 2 first-half fouls. As good as Bishop Kenny was at the line yesterday, leaving a lot of points there today. Roberts converts the second, 4 of 9 as a team after going 11 for 12 yesterday. Ticking down toward 30 seconds as McCarthy guards Edwards. Stubbs gets a screen. And Stubbs is whistled for a travel. Some contact on that drive. The whistle has gone the way of Bishop Kenny here the last few possessions. Millar and Dolmovich will check back in. The 2 shooters for BK out there for what could be the final possession of the half.
3 consecutive turnovers for American Heritage.
Dolmovich tried to pick up the dribble. Edwards just ripped it away. Chance for the Patriots to get some momentum going to the locker room. Weish underneath, left hand layup drops in, and that will bring us to the end of the first half. American Heritage raced out to a big lead. It was 18-2. Charlie Clark's team fights back, and at the half it is an 11-point margin, 26-15. American Heritage leads here in the 6A championship game.
It's a good time to visit the Team IP merchandising booth inside of the arena to purchase your official Florida High School Athletic Association Basketball State Championship souvenir. Team IP, the official merchandise of the FHSAA. Florida Dairy Farmers is a proud supporter of student athletes and their families. Farmers know it takes hard work and long hours to excel in the classroom and on the court. Visit floridamilk.com to see how dairy farmers across the Sunshine State work hard every day to provide fresh, wholesome milk. Thank you to the following Championship Committee Gold supporters: Lakeland Hotel Motel Association, Central Florida Mediation, Publix Chinese Chicken, Olive Garden, Chick-fil-A, Fred's Market, BD's Mongolian Grill, Domino's Pizza, Jimmy John's Creamery. Choose everything. Visit Central Florida to experience family-friendly attractions such as Legoland Florida Resort, Clock Tower Gardens, Westgate River Ranch Resort, and much more. Plan your trip now at visitcentralflorida.org.
Away from starting the third quarter here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland. American Heritage on top of Bishop Kenny 26-15 at halftime here in the 6A championship game. A look at the first half stats. Neither team shooting it well from distance. Bishop Kenny struggling from the free throw line. The turnovers a huge factor. 12 of them for Bishop Kenny, 15 field goal attempts.
You know, the other big piece, American Heritage really has shot themselves in the foot a little bit in the second quarter with some really uncharacteristically bad turnovers, especially in transition. But their ability to make free throws and utilizing their size early on in this contest has been the difference.
American Heritage is 9 of 20 from the field, so they have 11 missed shots, 9 offensive rebounds. That means that almost every single time they shoot, it's either going in or they're getting the rebound. So Greg Farias' team well positioned right now to have a chance for a second consecutive state championship. The school had never won a title prior to last year. They dominated Ponte Vedra in the championship game. Bishop Kenny 3-0 all time in championship games. 28-year-old Charlie Clark trying to coach them to their first title since 1992. American Heritage will have it first as we start the third quarter. Some foul difficulty for the Patriots. 4 players have 2 fouls. Weish mishandles the inbounds pass. Dolmovich with Weish back to challenge the shot. Doesn't come close to the rim.
Missed opportunity for Bishop Kenny.
Roberts hustles back and knocks it away from Sharp. Looked like American Heritage was going to run Bishop Kenny out of the gym. They started the game 18-2, led by as many as 18 in the first half. But BK able to stick with it. They cut the margin to 9 late. And with that nice little jump hook there by Weish.
Beautiful move.
Roberts
place to pick up your dribble.
Got up in the air with nowhere to go with the ball.
Well, she's having a little communication there with McCarthy telling her that's my fault. You have to attack that 2-2-1 half-court trap in the middle of the floor. You really want to stay off the sidelines.
Sharp got great position. Couldn't get it to go. And Dolmovich comes out of there with it. We'll get a foul on American Heritage. That's on Sharp. It's going to be her third. She has let her emotions get the best of her at times late in the second quarter.
I'm trying to figure out where was the foul committed.
It is against Sharp, so her third foul comes in the first 42 seconds of the third quarter. Millar, the outstanding three-point shooter, has yet to get on track in this game. Hasn't had many opportunities, just 2 shot attempts. Try and involve her in a screen and roll. Roberts steps in, free throw line jumper. Good
nice
touch.
Play by the sophomore. Instead of forcing the issue, get to a spot where she's comfortable on the floor, raises up and knocks down the elbow jumper.
Roberts has 14 of the 17 points for Bishop Kenny. And Sharp might have gotten away with an extra step on that move in the post. Let's say the whistle works itself out, right?
I'm not even sure what to call that move. It's not a Euro step.
Wasn't much that led to her picking up her third foul, and here, no whistle, as she's able to get the bucket.
Catches it on the post, 1 dribble, 1, 2. Well, maybe not. Okay. Excuse me, miss.
Sharp headed to play for Glenn Wilkes Jr. at Rollins College. Nice sideline out of bounds set from Heritage.
How about
leads
the back
to an open
screen?
layup.
Coach Ferris is in his bag over there today, huh?
Teams have won at least 21 games in all 4 of his seasons at American Heritage. Guy who knows how to coach. Roberts in the middle of the floor. Pass deflected to Dolmovich, and she ended up kicking it out of bounds.
Every time Bishop Kenny looks like they're about to make a push, make something positive happen. They get a turnover.
The size and the speed of Heritage leading to uncharacteristic mistakes from Bishop Kenny. Sharp forcing it up on Dolmovich. The strength to get it up and over the rim.
She's catching the ball way too deep on the post.
Sharp has 17 for American Heritage. Battle just to get the ball in the front court. Nice screen by McCarthy, and she slips to the rim.
That is such a smart play by McCarthy. Understand that all eyes are going to be on Roberts. Watch this overextend on the hedge. You got to keep your left foot underneath the defender's leg to prevent him from rolling. That did not happen for Edwards. Great pass and fine for the easy two.
Bishop Kenny has experienced a number of tight games during this playoff run, including in the district semifinals. Nearly lost a 16-point lead to Terry Parker. Beat him 61-60, then needed 3 overtimes against Ribault. Region final was a 6-point margin against Tallahassee Rickards, and then that state semifinal game that went right down to the final second against Southeast. Jasmine Roberts hitting a couple of free throws with 13.7 seconds to go. Bishop Kenny survived the last possession by Southeast. That ends the career of John Harder, a legend. More than 700 wins at Southeast.
I mean, I'm looking at the names on that screen, and that is not an easy path to get here to Lakeland. You have to go through a lot of history and tradition.
It was interesting listening to Charlie Clark yesterday talk about how much respect she had for John Harder. Read a lot about him in preparing for that semifinal game. Said she'd heard at a coaching clinic once that you can coach for your next job, or you can coach to try to get your name on the court where you currently are. And she was humbled by the fact that John Harder has in fact accomplished that at Braden and Southeast. That's her goal at Bishop Kenny.
You know, if you take care of what's in front of you, tomorrow takes care of itself. And I think sometimes coaches get so ahead of themselves trying to figure out where they want to be long term. Really, honestly, if you win where you are, good things will happen to you.
Sharp with the pull-up jumper. She continues to carry American Heritage offensively. Now 19 points. Miller's 3 around and out. Rebound to Edwards.
What a way to run the floor.
Hit every part of the rim and fell in for Talia Weish. Heritage starting to stretch it out here in the third quarter as Bishop Kenny gives it away again. Aronsky open from the corner. Backside rebound, Lau. The shot blocked by Roberts.
Roberts fortunate not to pick up a foul.
And Lindsey Miller, not knowing there was a defender there, walked with it once she caught that pass.
The most impressive thing to me about these Weiss twins is their ability to get up and down the floor. They change ends very well for big women.
A lot of times you see players that are taller than 6 feet at that age, and they're just not coordinated athletically. That's not the case at all.
No, these are two phenomenal athletes. The sky's the limit for these two young ladies.
Edwards works her way into the paint. And that'll be an offensive foul.
They call that an offensive foul. I am truly, I mean, there's no way that's an offensive foul.
Yeah, it is a block on Roberts.
All right.
Well, the official on the near sideline pointing toward Bishop Kenny, just indicating it was going to be one free throw for Marissa Edwards. That pops around and down. 3-point play for Edwards. And American Heritage has its largest lead, now 22.
Talked about the inability of Bishop Kenny Austin to go deep on their bench. Wonder if these back-to-back games are starting to get to them, especially playing tight contests all the way here.
Roberts, nice spin dribble across the midcourt line. Millar, step back three. And Bishop Kenny, a team that averages 7.5 made three-pointers per game. They don't even have 7 three-point attempts.
It's been extremely tough for them to get open looks tonight, partner.
And credit the defense of American Heritage. This is going to be a double foul. Marissa Edwards and Jasmine Roberts. And that is the 4th foul on Jasmine Roberts. So she picks up fouls on back-to-back possessions. And Charlie Clark is going to bring player that has been the only offense for Bishop Kenny to the bench. So where does BK go for scoring? Millar with the runner. Weiss pulls it down for American Heritage.
Good look by Millar.
Amazing what American Heritage has accomplished this season, given that they've got 3 impact players that are out with injuries. Maria Barrios and Tadeja Sims both suffered season-ending injuries before the season even started. Then Tiana Stubbs, who was a starter for most of the year, tore her ACL on senior night. This could be a much deeper team than the one they brought here to Lakeland as Aronski drops in a 3.
How about that inside-out dish?
Good passing. Dolmovich converts the layup.
Textbook press break by Bishop Kenny.
Charlie Clark wondering where that passing and aggressiveness has been all night. Aronski, good low crossover. Weiss coming down the lane. And Talia Weiss gets a couple of free throws.
When you turn down the screen, you just have to roll towards the rim. Never brings the ball beneath her shoulders. You mean to tell me Talia doesn't deserve to take a 3 a game? I mean, come on, look at this form.
Well, Talia not super interested in taking 3s.
Okay.
She's the one who wants to dominate the paint. Well, Tatiana is the one who wants to step out and take some 3s. I'm with you. The form looks nice. Rebound out of bounds to American Heritage.
Imagine these young ladies being able to screen and pop. We've seen the screen and roll, but imagine being able to screen and pop.
They will have college coaches salivating for the next couple of years. Just sophomores, identical twins that are both 6'2". Talia patiently waits for an opportunity to get that ball up and banks it in.
Just look at this trap, Austin.
Millar whistled for a carry.
You cannot beat a 2-2-1 trap off the dribble. Passes and ball fakes.
Edwards, good feed inside. The jump hook doesn't go for Tatiana. A scramble inside will result in a jump ball, and the arrow will give it to Bishop Kenny. There's a lot of talent on this American Heritage roster, and they fit really well in Coach Farias' system. But the player that I really like, in addition to the Weiss twins, is Aronski. I think she's just always under control, and she's a tenacious defender.
I mean, she's your utility knife. I mean, she has the ability to knock down long-range shots. We've seen her put the ball on the floor. She gets up under you as a defender. I mean, just gets under your skin and wreaks all types of havoc, sets the tone for you.
Left alone, Aronski off the back rim with that three. Weiss goes crashing in to Janie Citrano, out of bounds to Bishop Kenny with less than a minute to go here in the third.
So imagine 2 years from now when the Weiss twins and Aronski are seniors.
Could be some more rings in the future of American Heritage. McCarthy bounce pass underneath. Rachel Dolmovich is fouled.
Bishop Kenny doing a great job of getting the ball to the middle of the floor, and drawing the foul is Dolmovich.
A lot of close games where Bishop Kenny's thrived in the postseason. I think they're going to get there today. Dolmovich misses both. Lindsay Miller the rebound to keep it at this end of the floor. Citrano gets to the lane and will draw a foul.
Bishop Kenny still showing some fight.
Citrano comes off the bench. She is the senior captain. A quality defender that Charlie Clark can rely on. Two seniors in the rotation for Bishop Kenny. Citrano and Lindsay Miller come off the bench. Other than that, all 5 starters set to return for Charlie Clark's team.
Nice nucleus to bring back.
Aronski right in front of the Bishop Kenny bench, and the official will say that ball was on the sideline.
Aronski getting sped up on that possession.
The competitiveness of these Bishop Kenny kids, wouldn't know it based on the score, how hard they're playing and how hard Charlie Clark is coaching them. McCarthy forces it up after the shot was blocked, and here comes Aronski. In the middle of the floor, Stubbs, bounce pass, Weiss. Lay-in rolls around and out, and that will bring the third quarter to a close. Well, that would have brought a big smile to Coach Farias' face if they would have been able to execute that at the end of the third quarter. But it was a good one for American Heritage. They outscore Bishop Kenny 21-8, and they are in command going to the fourth.
At Fred's Market, enjoy a delicious buffet at a great price. For locations, visit fredsmarket.com. Good sports programs need good officials. You can stay connected to interscholastic competition by becoming an FHSAA contest official. There's a need for officials at all levels and all sports. You can help fill those needs. We invite you to join the thousands of men and women in the FHSAA contest officials program who play vital roles in the integrity of interscholastic competition. If you're interested, contact the Florida High School Athletic Association office in Gainesville or visit the official's website at becomeanofficial.org.
Start of the fourth quarter here at the RP Funding Center in Lakeland. One of the characteristics we see from just about every team that wins a state championship is that they have really challenged themselves during the regular season. It's not necessarily the team with the best record that wins when you get here.
No, not at all. I mean, you want to make sure you're able to replicate during the season what you're going to need to do from the beginning of February to the end of February. That means you have to be able to win 5 or 6 games in a row, and you have to do it against tough competition. So this is the theme. You have to play the best if you want to be the best.
Dillard, St. Thomas Aquinas will be here tomorrow for the state semifinals. Saw Miami Country Day win a 6th consecutive state championship earlier today. And we start the fourth quarter with a Parrish Sharp foul. Fourth foul on Sharp, but she will stay out there. in the early moments of the fourth quarter. As the pressure once again forces a Bishop Kenny turnover.
Bishop Kenny works so hard to create a turnover in the opening seconds just to give the ball back to American Heritage.
21 turnovers for Bishop Kenny, only 23 field goal attempts. Sharp going to work on the block against McCarthy. A strong take.
Does a really good job of understanding where the defender is on her back to decide which shoulder she needs to turn over.
And she's got the athleticism to recover at the back of that press. Sharp had possession. Greg Farias calls a timeout. Now Sharp is listed at 6 feet, a great athlete, likes to play down on the post here in high school. How do you evaluate her at the next level?
Well, as a Division II player, I think she still has the ability to be dominant in that same type of role. She will have to develop a few skills away from the basket, but just because she is strong and athletic, she'll have the ability to be able to finish in the lane. Not a lot of length in that conference.
Sharp, a transfer from Cardinal Gibbons. And Greg Farias said when she came over in the summer, she couldn't shoot from 5 feet. Couldn't make a shot other than a layup. So it's been a challenge to try to get her to a point where she's a capable shooter. But you see her here, she looks like she's developing a nice mid-range game.
It's kind of one of those things where you just have to work on it.
Sharp almost outscoring Bishop Kenny on her own. She's got 21, the Crusaders with 23. At the free throw line. That rolls in. Now
right on cue,
23 points for Paris Sharp.
Catches the ball at the high post. Defender gives her room. She knocks down the baby jumper.
The coaches love players that are versatile. Almost a triple-double in the semifinals yesterday, and she did it with steals. 11 steals, had 9 rebounds. Citrano taking advantage of a defender being on the ground. She was rejected by Tatiana Weish.
Length again of American Heritage causing problems on the inside. See if Bishop Kenny can convert off the turnover.
Citrano the offensive rebound. We still have not seen Jasmine Roberts, who has 4 fouls. Sat out the last couple of minutes of the third. Yet to appear here in the fourth. And drive by snuck Stanfield into the game. Out of bounds to Bishop Kenny.
Or if that's just fatigue by Paris Sharp. Looks exhausted.
Greg Farias, big hand for Paris Sharp as she sits with 5:46 to go. At this point, just a question of the final margin here in the 6A championship game. It's going to be a repeat for American Heritage. Citrano with an aggressive drive.
Great job not giving up on the play, turning the corner and finishing to Citrano.
Senior captain wanting to make the most of the final minutes in her high school career. As Greg Farias gets a timeout.
Talked about that senior leadership, Austin, and Citrano coming off the bench here off the high ball screen, hesitation, gets the switch, and just beats her defender off the dribble to the rim.
And talking to Charlie Clark yesterday, She knew it was a good team, but they went to a Christmas tournament in Atlanta at St. Pius, and they beat 2 schools from Georgia, another from Maryland. They finished 7th in that event last year. They win it this year, and on the way back, assistant coach Brianna Boland said to Clark, I think we have to start believing that we have a great team. And it was at that point that they started pointing to the banner in the gym that listed the 1992 state title. And Brianna Boland, who handles all of the defensive assignments for Bishop Kenny, started to convince Charsley Clark that, look, we've got something here that's going to be really special, and it turned out that here they are playing for a state championship.
I mean, you have to have realistic goals, and I think it's sometimes, you know, not in a good spirit to tell your team the goal is to win a state title if you're not capable of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But there has to be certain things you have to do along the way. If you're able to check boxes and you're being competitive in districts, you win a Christmas tournament, then you can start to really put your sights on what's possible.
And it's okay for expectations to change during the course of a season.
Absolutely.
You see all the time that teams perform above the expectation, and sometimes you get an injury, someone gets hurt, and things don't turn out the way that you wanted them to, and you've got to adjust your expectations.
In all honesty, as a coach, you want your team to be playing a lot better in February than they were playing in December.
Aronsky working off a couple of screens at the top. Weish in between defenders, can't get it to go, and here's Miller. Well, the strength of December Stubbs just ripped it away.
Weish was surprised at how open she was once she turned and faced.
So badly wanted to shoot. I've never seen someone so angry to kick the ball out. Just a look of complete disgust.
It must be a rule, like, you know, if there's no one else around, you can't take a shot.
Lau entry pass, and he'll get an offensive foul. A hook on Tatiana Weish. Robertson Millar back in as Greg Farias pleads his case. Great day for South Florida here at the Lakeland Center. It seems like we've said that a lot in the last couple of years. Miami Country Day wins the 4A title. Oxbridge in 5A, and now American Heritage is going to win in 6A. They will sweep these middle classifications. We had Somerset Prep win the 3A title here on Tuesday. And there's a strong crop of South Florida teams coming up in the large classes as well.
You know, the club basketball AAU programs that are developing down there in South Florida are extremely strong. And I think you see the result of that here in Lakeland.
And when we talk about South Florida, talking Palm Beach, Broward, Dade counties, those are the programs that have ruled the state here the last couple of years. We've got Miami High is coming back in 9A. Dillard is here in 7A as Roberts banks it in to bring the margin to 28. It is not easy to get here for the first time and go home with gold. There's something about the experience of coming here and feeling what it's like to not win it, to just drive that hunger to come back.
You have to pay your dues. We've been doing this long enough, partner, to realize that is a rarity for a team to get here the first time and win.
Natalie Tejada fouls Jasmine Roberts. And that was the case with Heritage. They got here a couple of years ago, got humbled by Jacksonville Revolt, routed in the semifinals, came back and won it the next year, and with all 5 starters set to return for Bishop Kenny, they will certainly be among the favorites to make it back here in whatever classification they're placed in. Right now we've got 9 classes. That's going to shrink to 7 starting with next year. I was talking to Justin Harrison of the FHSAA, says he's got all the classifications, the district's ready to go. It'll be released shortly after the state tournament. They wanted the focus to be on this during this 2-week stretch, but once the state tournament ends, coaches and players will get a chance to see where their district and classification will take them next year.
That'll give us something to do maybe tomorrow. We can sneak and pry around a little bit, see if we can maybe get a little sneak peek.
And get the password to his computer, take a look at those files.
We'll just snatch the computer and find somebody to code crack it for us.
There's our broadcast position, just aside from half court here at the RP Funding Center. It's always one of the best 2 weeks of the year, right?
Really look forward to this every year. Just the amount of talent and, to see so many players that go on and do great things, not only athletically, but, within their careers. And we're getting to the point now also where there are folks that we've seen play here now that are coaching and that are being successful as coaches.
Well, maybe you've seen them. Maybe you've seen them play. I haven't quite been around that long.
Wow.
Can't put us in the same age bracket.
That's the way we're doing this? That's what we're doing right now?
I mean, people don't know how old we are. They don't know what the gap is.
You have a point there. A little bit of a point.
Greg Farias going to win his second consecutive title. He's not going to have much time to celebrate it. His full-time job is regional manager of a bank. Told me yesterday he's going from here to Orlando for a conference. Has to get right back to real work, real job.
That's perfect planning. You ask me. I mean, you come here, you get a little hardware, 40 miles up the road.
I'm interested in going back and celebrating a little bit.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they can, get the parade together starting Monday or Tuesday.
Greg Farias, like so many of the coaches at these private schools that are not full-time faculty. Charlie Clark is a PE teacher at Bishop Kenny. And a lot of them dedicate their time as Lindsay Miller, an awkward-looking finger roll off the backboard. Well, great to see the response from Bishop Kenny. All the players on the bench standing up and clapping after that turnover. They are playing as though this was the first quarter in a tight game.
Both teams still going at it. American Heritage still with a little three-quarter court press.
Eighth team foul on American Heritage, so 1-1 for Jasmine Roberts. It'll be interesting to watch her develop over the next couple of years. She's a sophomore, listed at 5'10", has some perimeter skills. She'll need to continue to develop that part of her game.
Yeah. Definitely has the ability to shoot the basketball, nice touch. I like her just strong build. Can put the basketball on the floor.
Roberts already with a couple of college offers. Really liked what Charlie Clark said about coaching her. I asked her yesterday because Charlie Clark is an extremely intense individual. She coaches.
I would have never thought that.
Coaches every possession as though it is the last possession of a state championship game. And I said, how long did it take to establish the trust to be able to coach Jasmine as hard as you do? Because that's not something that comes right away. She said it took, a couple of months of me being with her, being around her, for her to understand that she could trust what I was going to tell her, and that gave her the ability to coach her up hard.
Especially if you're coming from a program where, that wasn't the expectation, and I think that's the difference between being good and great. And the great players want to be coached. They want to be pushed.
That foul was on Roberts, so she fouls out of the game. Got a hug from her coach. And a lot more to look forward to in Jasmine Roberts' career. This sophomore season is not going to end the way she wanted it to. But a fantastic state tournament, and there will be other chances. Charlie Clark giving some of her substitutes an opportunity to get into the game. McCarthy continuing at the point. A three-pointer hit every part of the rim from Mary Hanania.
Look at the ball pressure.
You want to talk about coming ready to go off the bench. Mary Hanania was ready for her opportunity to get into this game. 66 seconds remaining. Paris Sharp is going to come back in for American Heritage. Guess Greg Farias wanted to give senior a chance to end her career on the court. .24 margin for American Heritage, and when we think back on this game, it will be that three-quarter court tenacious defensive pressure that ultimately led to the margin becoming so big.
You know, Bishop Kenny, I thought, had the correct game plan, but just got worn down as the game went on, and the length and the foot speed of American Heritage just too much for them to overcome.
And confusion from the officials. That's just the 6th team foul on Bishop Kenny, so no free throws. A quiet night for Lau. Flips that one up and in. 4 points for senior Jenna Lau, transfer from St. Thomas Aquinas. Been a great year for Aquinas. Think about Lau transferring out, coming to American Heritage. And Aquinas has dominated the competition in South Florida, hammered this American Heritage team early in the year. They'll be here in the 8A semifinals. Lindsey Miller drops in a deep three. Then she'll get a hug from Charlie Clark. Final game of Lindsey Miller's high school career.
Just call him a timeout for some substitutions.
You look at that Bishop Kenny bench, and it's as though they've got a feeling that they knew what they accomplished getting here, getting to the championship game, and obviously they're not satisfied with it, but they're able to take some comfort in knowing that this was a breakthrough season. Most wins they've ever had in program history.
I think sometimes people just get caught up in the destination and not appreciating the journey. And I think this is a prime example of what happens when, you understand this isn't given.
Sharp misfires on the three after Stanfield's bucket for Bishop Kenny. Crusaders have the arrow with 18.4 seconds to go. Edwards with the steal. She'll get whistled for a travel. Bishop Kenny will have a chance for one more shot. Well, there's so many players shuffling in and out of the game. Kara McCarthy, I think, has not yet gotten a break. Had to handle the pressure for 32 minutes. Millar at the buzzer. That will count. And it'll make the final margin a little bit closer, but not change the outcome. 58-40 the final. American Heritage celebrates back-to-back state championships.
You have to tip your hats off to Bishop Kenny on a great effort, but just a dominating performance tonight by American Heritage.
Started the game leading 18-2. And Bishop Kenny crawled back into it, but never had the firepower to be able to hang in there against the talented squad from American Heritage. Greg Farias with two hands in the air. And a lot of them putting up that number 2 for back-to-back championships. When Farias got the job, he told me that the girls basketball program was the only sport, boys or girls, that had not won a state title at American Heritage. Now they've gotten up here and won it twice.
2 check marks. I wonder if that's part of his performance review at the end of the year.
I hope for his sake he's got a bonus coming. Greg Farias and American Heritage win the 6A state championship for the second consecutive year. 58-40 the final. Great game for Paris Sharp. It'll be fun to watch her develop as she goes to play for Rollins College next year, and so many of the other young players out here. The Weiss twins, Daniela Aronsky for American Heritage, Jasmine Roberts, a sophomore, Maddie Millar, just a freshman for Bishop Kenny. All kinds of young talent on both of these 6A state finalist teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Bishop Kenny back in the state championship game for the first time since 1992. It'll be silver medals back to Jacksonville for the Crusaders. Gold for American Heritage. That wraps up another championship day of coverage here on MySpectrumSports.com. Don't forget, 7A, 8A, 9A championship games. We will be with you all day on Saturday, streaming for the final day of the FHSAA basketball finals. Until then, for Hendrick Frazier and our entire hard-working Spectrum Sports crew, led by producer Chris McCulley and director Mike Catolo, Austin Lyons saying so long from the RP Funding Center. American Heritage is your 6A state champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the center of the court for the award ceremony. Presenting the team trophies on behalf of the Florida High School Athletic Association is Andy Childs. He'll be joined by Class 6A state runners-up, the Jacksonville Bishop Kenny Lady Crusaders, and head coach Chauncey Clark. Ladies and gentlemen, your Class 6A 2019 runners-up, the Bishop Kenny Lady Crusaders. And now we recognize the player and coaches of the 2019 Class 6A State Championship team. Plantation American Heritage, the Lady Patriots. Mr. Childs presenting the trophy to Coach Farias. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2019 6A state champions, the American Heritage Lady Patriots. That concludes our award ceremony. Don't forget the Class 7A semifinal game tomorrow between Daytona Beach Father Lopez and Fort Lauderdale Dillard, scheduled to start at 10 a.m. That's on Friday the 1st.